Salam sejahtera and a very good morning to our lecturer and fellow classmates. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to our module lecturer and supervisor, Miss Nurul Izzati binti Mazaidin, for her valuable guidance, continuous support, and dedication throughout this module, the foreign exchange market. I would also like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to Spectrum International University College or SIUC for providing us with a conducive learning environment and quality education. In addition, I would like to thank all my classmates for their cooperation, encouragement, and support throughout this semester. Under the guidance of Miss Nurul Izzati binti Mazaidin, I have gained a valuable knowledge and a deeper understanding of foreign exchange markets, international finance, and global economic issues. The knowledge acquired from this module will certainly be beneficial for my future academic and professional development. Once again, thank you very much to everyone. Today, I will be presenting my assignment or presentation entitled Macro Financial Assessment of Malaysian Ringgit against US Dollar Exchange Rate, Implications for International Investment and Foreign Borrowing Decisions. The purpose of this presentation is to assess the movement of the Malaysian Ringgit or MYR against the United States dollar or USD and to evaluate its impact on multinational corporations, commonly known as MNCs. Now, I would like to begin my presentation. Slide 2. Purpose and objective. The purpose of this assessment is to analyze the movement of the Malaysian Ringgit against the United States dollar and understand how exchange rate fluctuations affect multinational corporations. This study has 5 main objectives. First, to analyze the trend of the MYR against USD exchange rate. Second, to examine the macroeconomic factors that influence currency movements. Third, to assess how global economic events affect exchange rate performance. Fourth, to evaluate the foreign exchange risk faced by multinational corporations. Finally, to recommend suitable hedging strategies that can reduce exchange rate exposure and protect business performance. These objectives are important because exchange rate volatility directly affects international trade, investment decisions, and corporate profitability. Slide 3. Importance of foreign forecasting for MNCs. Foreign exchange forecasting is a critical activity for multinational corporations. Accurate forecasting helps organizations make informed investment decisions and avoid unnecessary financial losses. Exchange rate movements affect borrowing costs, especially when companies obtain loans denominated in foreign currencies. They also influence profit margins, cash flow management, and the competitiveness of products in international markets. By forecasting exchange rate movements, companies can improve budgeting accuracy, reduce uncertainty, make better investment decisions, and ultimately enhance shareholder value. Therefore, foreign exchange forecasting is not merely a financial exercise, but an essential component of strategic management. Slide 4. Overview of the MYR against USD market. The MYR against USD currency pair represents the exchange relationship between the Malaysian Ringgit and the United States dollar. The United States dollar is the world's most important reserve currency and is widely used in international trade, investment, and financial transactions. Its value is strongly influenced by monetary policy decisions made by the United States Federal Reserve. Furthermore, during periods of global uncertainty, investors often regard the USD as a safe haven currency. On the other hand, the Malaysian ringgit operates under a magnet flow exchange rate system supervised by Bank Negara Malaysia. The ringgit is influenced by exports, commodity prices, foreign direct investment, and capital flows. As a result, both domestic and international factors significantly affect MYR against USD exchange rate movements. Slide 5. Historical overview from 2021 to 2025. Looking at the historical development between 2021 and 2025, several major economic events influenced the MYR against USD exchange rate. In 2021, the global economy entered a recovery phase following the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2022, inflation increased significantly across many countries due to supply chains disruptions and rising energy prices. To combat inflation, the United States Federal Reserve began implementing aggressive interest rate hikes. In 2023, monetary tightening continued, resulting in a strong US dollar and increasing pressure on emerging market currencies, including the Malaysian ringgit. In 2024, Malaysia's economic growth improved, helping the ringgit recover gradually. By 2025, investor confidence strengthened, contributing to greater stability in the exchange rate. Overall, global economic uncertainty remained a major factor influencing MYR against USD movements during this period. Slide 6. Exchange rate trend analysis. This slide presents the trend analysis of the MYR against USD exchange rate based on Bank Negara Malaysia data. The analysis shows that the Malaysian ringgit experienced periods of depreciation during aggressive US interest rate increase. As higher US interest rates attracted global capital into US financial markets, demand for the USD increased substantially. However, when Malaysia's economic fundamentals improved, supported by stronger GDP growth, trade performance, and investor confidence, the ringgit strengthened. The exchange rate remained volatile throughout the study period due to changing market expectations and global uncertainties. These fluctuations have important implications for businesses. They increase import costs, rise foreign debt, servicing expenses, and influence the profitability of international investments. Slide 7. Macroeconomic determinants. Several macroeconomic factors contribute to MYR against USD exchange rate movements. The first factor is interest rate differentials between Malaysia and the United States. The second factor is inflation rates. The third factor is GDP growth performance. The fourth factor is trade balance conditions. The fifth factor is foreign direct investment inflows. Finally, international capital flows also play an important role to explain these relationships. This study applies two important theoretical frameworks: interest rate parity and purchasing power parity. These theories provide a useful foundation for understanding exchange rate behavior. Slide 8. Interest rate parity and purchasing power parity. Interest rate parity, or IRP, suggests that difference in interest rates between countries influence exchange rate movements. When US interest rates increased significantly, international investors shifted funds toward US assets. This increased demand for USD and created depreciation pressure on the Malaysian ringgit. Purchasing power parity or PPP explains exchange rates throughout inflation differences. Countries with lower inflation generally experience stronger currencies over the long term. Therefore, both IRP and PPP help explain why the MYR against USD exchange rate changed during the study period. These theories remain highly relevant for foreign exchange analysis and forecasting. Slide 9. Central bank policies and global events. Central bank actions play a significant role in exchange rate determination. The Federal Reserve aggressive interest rate increase strengthened the US dollar globally. Meanwhile, Bank Negara Malaysia implemented various monetary policy measures to maintain economic stability and support growth. In addition to monetary policy, several global events affected exchange rates. These include the Russia-Ukraine conflict, tension in the Middle East, supply chain disruptions, and fluctuations in commodity prices. Such events increased uncertainty and influenced investor behavior in foreign exchange markets. Slide 10. Foreign exchange risks for MNCs. Multinational corporations face several types of foreign exchange risks. The first is transaction exposure, which arises from import and export activities. The second is translation exposure, which occurs when companies consolidate overseas financial statements. The third is economic exposure, which affects long-term competitiveness and market value. If exchange rate movements are unfavorable, companies may experience reduced profit margins, uncertain cash flows, and higher financing costs. Therefore, effective risk management is essential for sustainable business performance. Slide 11. Proposed hedging solutions. To manage foreign exchange risks, multinational corporations can utilize various hedging strategies. Forward contracts allow firms to lock in future exchange rates and reduce uncertainty. Currency options provide flexibility by giving firms the right but not the obligation to exchange currencies at predetermined rates. Currency swaps enable organizations to exchange debt obligations denominated in different currencies. Operational hedging strategies can also be adopted. For example, natural hedging involves matching foreign currency revenues with foreign currency expenses. Companies can also diversify funding sources to reduce dependence on a single currency. Together, these strategies help organizations manage foreign exchange risks more effectively. Slide 12, strategic recommendations and conclusion. Based on the finding of this study, several recommendations are proposed. First, multinational corporations should establish a comprehensive foreign exchange risk management framework. Second, forward contracts should be used for predictable foreign currency transactions. Third, management should continuously monitor Federal Reserve and Bank Negara Malaysia policy developments. Fourth, financing sources should be diversified to reduce exchange rate exposure. Finally, companies should conduct regular stress testing to assess their resilience under different exchange rate scenarios. In conclusion, the MYR against USD exchange rate is influenced by a combination of macroeconomic factors, monetary policies, and geopolitical developments. Effective forecasting and hedging strategies are essential for multinational corporations to minimize risk, protect profitability, and achieve sustainable international growth. Thank you very much for your attention.